Hi, I'm Jae Gruenke, founder of The Balanced Runner. I've been helping runners from beginner to Olympian improve their form and performance since 2003. And I thought we could take a look at the top three women in the U.S. Olympic marathon trials from Orlando 2024 and see what there is to see in their form. All right, so here we have actually a view of the three, just going out of the screen, but you'll see here is Fiona O'Keeffe and Emily Sisson, and Dakotah Lindwurm just disappeared behind O'Keeffe. There she is, actually. So these are the three women who will be our marathon Olympic team. And let's actually start having a close look at Fiona O'Keeffe, who just won in her marathon debut. And we can get a good look at her right about here. So her legs are working really well. I mean, her overall form is pretty simple and straightforward. Obviously it was a hot day, and from, I feel like, quite far from the finish, it looked to me like she was feeling the heat, but she did not slow down. She just sped up. So I haven't seen her run before. I don't know how typical this is for her. She's doing some interesting things. So again, the legs are working well. You saw them from the side. We can go back again right about, yeah. So seeing her from the side, you can see she's landing with her feet below her knees pretty much. It's a perfectly fine gait cycle. Her knees are coming in a little bit and toes pointing out a little bit, and we'll talk about why that happens in just a sec. She keeps doing something interesting with her head, especially later in the race, head and hands. That looked to me like a sign of distress, but again, maybe it's normal for her. Her head falls back and she brings it down, and it falls back and she brings it down. With the glasses on, can't see what's going on with her eyes, so hard to really know what that is. And there's a feeling that she's just falling off the fronts of her feet. And if you look right now, her hands are closed, but they're kind of opening and closing, and they get more open, and with the wrists more bent, the farther she goes. Her arm swing is quite low, kind of around her lower ribs and waist, and quite wide. And so that's expensive. So what I'm saying, she could run faster, and it would be glorious to see. There's a lot of, when you swing your arms low and wide like that, there's a lot of tension in the arms, and it creates a lot of drag on the torso. And so the muscular tension through the whole, like, thorax, around the rib cage and the shoulders and the neck, all goes up. And that's not so great for your breathing, though it's not the worst thing that you could do either. But it's a lot of extra work, and it reduces the mobility of your upper spine, so she can't shift her weight from leg to leg so easily. So, and that's why her knees come in a little bit. It's because she's not quite going all the way over one foot and all the way over the other foot. When her head is tipped back, you can see just below her bib, she's far from the only person in this race, flexes a little bit her spine right there, pulls her ribs down, it tips the head back. And it also, for her, it's what's helping her fall forward, because it's putting her chest in front of her feet, and then you've got this kind of falling forward feeling. It's not an ideal lean, but it's functioning. And I think that's why, as she gets closer and closer to the finish line, and kind of more and more maxed out, her hands open, and even the wrists even bend. It's almost like a whoa, I'm falling, I'm trying not to fall feeling. So right here, through the waves of heat coming off the pavement, I guess, you can see her wrists more bent and her hand more open. I feel like I've not got the footage that really shows that really clearly here, but we'll see it elsewhere, her only look over her shoulder. So anyway, those are the main things that I'm really seeing in her form. I just love to see her arms come up and a little more differentiation in her upper spine to have the faster running be easier, and see her fly even better. So coming up behind her is Emily Sisson, who, as you can see, second. And her form is very similar to O'Keeffe's, actually. She always looks so strong, whereas O'Keeffe looks very small and light here. So let's go back a little bit to get a good look at Emily Sisson. Let's see, right about in here. So she also has low arms. She keeps them really out to the side. Whoops, that was really short. Hang on, let's go back. So here's a great counterexample. So that is Karolina Rotich, and she's got her arms really high, and you can see her whole upper body is so much more supple, and it gets her from leg to leg. It gets her a much bigger action with her legs and longer strides. When you see her in a pack with other runners, she's her turnover is slower. So here she is right in the middle here, with larger and slightly slower strides than O'Keeffe here and Sarah Hall here. So she's back there. But anyway, the goal here was to look at Emily Sisson. So let's see if we can get her a little better. And so Emily Sisson in the visor. So again, the low and very wide arms. So not so different from O'Keeffe, but they're wider actually, and working a little more front to back. Which again is a lot of work. And for her, you can see her again in the visor there. You can see there's just a lot of tension in the arms and the hands. And it would be so nice to see that energy put into running instead of just controlling the arms. So then Dakotah Lindwurm's right in front here, and she was third. And her arm carriage is a bit better. Now we're losing her behind the leaderboard here, but go back just a little bit because that was a nice long view of her. So her two sides are very different. And I even wonder if maybe her right leg is longer than her left. It's not something, it's very hard to accurately eyeball that sort of thing, but just looking at how her whole body is organized, how her upper body turns left a lot coming off that right leg. And it's just, if we go to the finish line, actually, let me see, and watch her just straight from the front. Right there. You can really see the difference, that her right hip is out to the side, and when the camera pulls back, you'll see that there's a lot more bends and folds in her right side. Her left side is straighter and a bit more compressed, except for the higher shoulder. So I just think that might be it, that she seems to be handling that beautifully. We all have the bodies we have. And none of us is really symmetrical. She's got the same upper abdomen tuck that so great, that O'Keeffe has, and that again is making her head tip back. So a lot of that, and you can see, three rounded upper backs there, which is coming from that pulling the lower ribs down for all three of them. So happy faces, great running. Congratulations to all three of them, and I hope that was useful. I'm not going to do a video on the men because I already did an in-depth analysis of Mance and Young after Chicago, and so I'll just link to those videos in the description. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that was useful to you, and may all your running dreams come true.